they did it. I don't know how, but ID Software has somehow outdone Doom 2016. In my opinion, of course, in almost every single aspect with the sequel, Doom Eternal. A feat I thought was impossible 4 years ago. But here I am, rather happy that I assumed so incorrectly. I honestly could easily just tell you to buy this amazing game right now and end the video here. But I assume you kind of want to know why I think the game is good. But before we get into the review and talk about the stuff that I really like and the stuff I don't like, etc., etc., a few quick disclaimers. The first being that major spoilers in this video will be dedicated to a spoiler section, so don't worry if you don't want the big stuff like boss fights, cutscenes, and big story stuff spoiled for you. If you've somehow managed to survive this long without getting the game spoiled for you. The most spoilers you'll see in the rest of this review, you've already seen in the intro, so just gameplay with a variety of locations and demons and stuff you've probably seen in trailers by now anyway. I'm also not going to be having a What is Doom Eternal section in this video like I did for Hunt when I did that review, because unlike Hunt Showdown, the main premise of Doom is super simple. You are a big old green boy, no, not that one, yeah, that one, who is just too angry to die, and with his raging hate boner for hell, slaughters hordes and hordes of demons in a spectacularly, there we go, violent fashion. There's your What is Doom Eternal section. And finally, all this gameplay you see in the background is on ultra violence and is on PC, played on mostly high settings. So, with that stuff out of the way, let's start with the most important part to nail in any Doom game. The gameplay. So to start, this game is fucking intense. Look at all of those demons. What are these new abilities? What the fuck is that? Why is everything on fire? They throw so much shit at you this time around, and there's so much going on all at once, and I fucking love it. For starters, there's a massive increase in the combat's pacing. Mostly because of this new dash ability, making this game feel really fast-paced compared to 2016. Couple this with a lot more demons on the screen than we saw in Doom 2016, and a lot more toys for the Slayer to play with / manage, and you got yourself a really high-octane game. And just like Doom 2016, the shooting, moving, and demon mutilation just feels super satisfying and fun. But something unlike Doom 2016, though, that I personally liked and others didn't, for fair reasons, is that this game can get really, really hard sometimes.
It goes back like 30 seconds.
Oh god, that's a Cacodemon. I'm gonna die here. Oh! Shoot. Yeah, this is a good deal harder, but I like it. There is a huge difficulty spike compared to Doom 2016, for a variety of reasons we'll get into in a bit. But just to give you an idea, for people that have played Doom 2016, I would say that ultraviolence in Doom Eternal is about on par with Nightmare in Doom 2016. So if you've played it, that should hopefully give you a bit of a feeling for, how hard Doom Eternal will be as compared to 2016. So one of the things that makes this game so much harder is that there are far more different types of demons this time around. This wider roster has a variety of different roles and strengths that each demon plays to. You got your fodder, which act like little annoyances and walking bags of ammo, essentially. You got your heavy demons that are a bit beefier in health and are meant to pressure you. And then there's the super heavies, which are mini-boss-like enemies that can cause you a lot of hurt if you're not paying attention. When all these demon types work together and allow others to have openings to hurt you, it allows them to easily overwhelm you if you're not on top of everything. Especially this guy. Now, a lot of people really hate the Marauder, because he acts nothing like the other demons. He can also kind of, successfully 1v1 you. He matches your speed and aggression, and most of the damage you do to him can only be done during a tiny opening. So, he's nearly a demonic version of you. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but, I actually really like him. I think he's a good addition to the game. Wait, hold on, let me explain. Now, every single Doom review I've watched up until this point, except one, has said that the Marauder should just be removed from the game, because he's too hard when he's supposed to be hard. Though, admittedly, I think people are making him a little harder for themselves than they should be, so although this isn't a tutorial, I am going to show you how to fight him since nearly everyone is having trouble with him. Essentially, you wait for him to throw his long-range attack, dodge it, and bait him into doing an axe swing. That causes his eyes to turn green. You know, the thing the tutorial told you that allowed you to hurt him. Once this happens, shoot him with the ballista, and then quickly switch to the super shotgun, and then back to the ballista again. And maybe throw in some frag grenades if you want as well, to do some more damage. Now, admittedly, this isn't the fastest way to kill the Marauder, but I think it's the easiest way to do it, at least in my opinion. Okay, so I talked about the Marauder. Now, can I finally move on? Alright, good. Alright, so along with the game being faster paced and just generally more difficult, resource management is also emphasized a lot more this time around. You see, in Doom 2016, resource management was a pretty big part of the gameplay loop at first, but once you upgraded your max ammo count, it was hardly a part of the game at that point, and it led to a lot of people just spamming the super shotgun for the rest of the game. This time, though, resource management is a far larger emphasis, and not just with ammo, since health, ammo, and armor pickups aren't as common as they used to be in 2016, and the enemies and combat arenas are far more challenging and numerous this time around, as I said earlier, so the pressure to keep up on your resources has never been higher. The loop, put simply, is to glory kill demons when you need health, and Blood Punch, which is a new ability that lets you send out a really powerful melee attack that can one-shot pinkies. 2 smaller demon boys refill this, and later 1 heavy demon. You chainsaw demons when you need ammo. The chainsaw also recharges with at least 1 gas tank, by the way, so you can almost always get ammo from a fodder demon, which you'll be doing a lot. And finally, you flame belch demons with your new flamethrower when you need armor. Because of this, you will really need to keep an eye on all your resources, and since ammo is now lower, it now forces the players to constantly switch weapons as well, which is now even more effective than it used to be. All the weapons and most of the mods this time feel like they're useful and all have defined roles, and even counter some demons. So now you're not only switching weapons due to a lack of ammo, but also you're now picking weapons that best suit certain demons, like how the Sticky Bomb mod on the combat shotgun can instantly stagger a Kako demon if you shoot it into his mouth, or how the plasma rifle can blow up enemy shields. Some of these mods can also destroy demon weak points, like the previously mentioned Sticky Bomb and the precision bolt on the heavy assault rifle. Disabling these weak points makes demons less of a threat and easier to kill, especially the Revenant. Like, once you get rid of his guns, he resorts to trying to bitch slap you. Fucking soy boy. Like in Doom 2016, you can also upgrade these weapon mods as well, with weapon points that you get from combat encounters. And once you have all the upgrades for a gun's mod, you can get its Mastery perk, which is the final and most powerful upgrade for that gun's mod. To get a Mastery perk, you either need to complete a challenge, or use a Mastery token that you find in later levels. Having to be mindful of your resources and having a far greater reason to switch up your weapons and mods makes this game feel really, really fresh. It adds a lot more depth to the combat loop this time around. Hell, they even added more depth to the upgrades for your Slayer. As opposed to just simply upgrading armor, health, or ammo with your Argent cells, you now have crystals that not only upgrade one of those 3 aforementioned things of your choosing, but also unlock a perk for you when you upgrade 2 icons attached to the same node, making you think ahead as to what you want to upgrade next. The Praetor Suit points this time are also replaced with Praetor Suit coins that ultimately do the same thing, upgrading your suit with little perks, but this time there are way more options to choose from, and some of the new options are really useful, like getting health from frozen enemies. Runes are also back now, but without those really boring challenges you needed to finish to get them. These bad boys just give you some really helpful abilities, but only 3 of them can be equipped at once. All of these things that help you build up your Slayer are found in the game world from exploration, including the weapon mods I was talking about earlier, and can all be spent to your choosing to help you better fit your playstyle. Oh, and speaking of exploration, it's really fun, surprisingly. In most games I play, I usually don't bother 100%ing them because it just feels tedious, but in Doom Eternal, secret hunting is a blast. As mentioned before, you can find gameplay affecting stuff like weapon mods, sentinel crystals, praetor tokens, and runes, but you can find fun stuff, like final records that you can play in your home base, the Fortress of Doom, cheat codes you could use when you replay levels for fun, codex entries and audio logs for some additional lore if you want to find out more about the universe and story, secret combat encounters that give you weapon points for killing demons within a time limit, sentinel batteries that let you get some cool stuff at the Fortress of Doom, toys. Oh, the toys! I would buy these in a heartbeat. ID Software, please. I beg. I need that Kako demon. Just look at him. Look at him. He chunky. and the Slayer Gates, which are these super challenging arenas that once you complete all of them, give you 6 Empyrean keys that allow you to unlock a secret 9th weapon, the Unmaker. Though the gates are really fun and the Unmaker does look awesome, it feels kinda underpowered. Like, I feel like it gets outmatched by the BFG in most situations, which kinda sucks because you have to put so much work in to get it. I kind of expect it to be OP like its Doom 64 counterpart, but even if it's underpowered, it's still fun to play with nonetheless. I think what ultimately makes finding all these secret goodies so fun is not only how cool/helpful they are, but how fun it is to navigate and play these levels to find them. The level design is probably one of the biggest improvements in Doom Eternal, for the most part. We'll get to some of the bad stuff in a minute. The arenas feel so much more open this time around, and luckily, you don't have to activate a core nest every single time you want to start a combat encounter. Instead, the demons are just there waiting for you, making it feel way more natural and allowing you to easily pick which ones you want to take out first. And traversing between arena to arena is also made really fun with some platforming stuff and light puzzle segments that do a great job of giving you a breather between fights and break up the monotony. I honestly didn't think I would enjoy these sections one bit, but it's a really fun way to go about the levels, by grabbing monkey bars, climbing walls, and using your dash across large gaps to solve puzzles. And hell, there's even some swimming sections. It's all good fun. Well, except for, this fucking purple goo, it can go fuck itself. Honestly, it's the one level obstacle that is just no fun at all. It completely strips you of your mobility, which is what makes this game so fun in the first place, and there are some sections in the game where you are forced to go through it, so you get punished no matter what. Unlike the other obstacles like the platforming and puzzles, this purposely limits your abilities. That's it, while the other ones utilize them. This is my only big gripe with the levels. Luckily, it's rare, though. Overall, the gameplay is very solid and fast-paced, with lots of new features that add a lot of depth into Doom 2016's already stellar demon slaughtering formula, which only gets better with the newly added demons to kill, new abilities, and nice levels to play around in. And explore. Admittedly, though, these changes do take a lot of time to get used to after playing 2016 for so long, and it can be kind of frustrating at first, but if you stick with it and learn what the game is trying to teach you, it's a hell of a lot of fun. No pun intended there. All of this does a great job of acting as a breath of fresh air from most modern cover-based FPS games. And speaking of breaths of fresh air, the gameplay isn't the only thing that you don't see in many modern games, or in this case also here. Many of you have probably come to this conclusion on your own by just watching the gameplay, but damn, does this game look good? Not only are the graphics at that AAA quality we expect, but they have a surprisingly artistic touch to them, which makes them stand out from all the other games out right now. Like, there's just so much life and detail in these levels and animations of the demons too, especially when you're ripping their limbs off. It all just looks gorgeous. Half the fun of these levels is just looking at how cool everything is from an artistic standpoint. Although I really enjoyed Doom 2016's darker look, it did admittedly get kinda dull after a while, to the point that everything just kinda felt like a remix of the Foundry. Eternal, though, does a good job of keeping the environments varied, which keeps it all feeling really fresh. Like the level where you go to Erdek especially, like, holy shit, it looks so good. The UI, HUD, and menus also look pretty good and are easy to navigate, and the best part about them is you can customize almost anything about them so it fits to your liking. I use the Sentinel color scheme myself. Now, for all my PC boys out there, you're probably wondering how this game runs, looking this nice and all. I'm happy to report that it runs really smoothly. I haven't had a single huge frame drop below 60 frames myself, and it just generally feels polished. And speaking of polish, this game's only like 40 gigabytes. No clue how they fit all this into 40 gigs, but I think that should be a telling sign as to just how well optimized this game is. Throughout my playtime, I only had 2 crashes while playing this game, one of which was likely due to me streaming, because Streamlabs OBS is an unstable piece of shit sometimes, so I'm not going to penalize the game for it. Anyways, here's the minimum required specs according to ID Software and Bethesda, if you're a PC boy like me. For you console gamers out there, this really shouldn't be much of a concern to you. Anyways, graphics aside, the sound quality is also really solid in Eternal. Everything just sounds really, really beefy, especially the music. Composed by our main man, Mick Gordon. Oh, he's fucking beautiful. The soundtrack he composed for Eternal is easily on par, if not better than Doom 2016's. It's fucking metal. All I gotta say is, you know a game's music is S tier when the game feels empty when you play without it. The music is just that good. It does such a great job at getting you into the demon-killing mood, acting like a call to action for genocide, helping you clap those demons left and right. Now, I would keep on praising the visuals and music, but we got a lot to cover, including something most of you probably figured I wouldn't be covering since this is a Doom game. The story. Now, this is going to be the part of the review where I go into spoiler territory, so if you don't want stuff spoiled for you, move to this time in the video, or click the timestamp pinned in the comments. Okay, are they all gone? Okay, good. So yeah, this Doom game actually has a story, more than 2016 by far. But I think that the story actually perfectly fits a Doom game in all honesty, since it's just purely fan service. Essentially, the main premise is that Doom Guy is trying to kill 3 Hell Priests to stop the demonic consumption of Earth. Thing is, though, the Khan Maker, the big baddie of this whole story, wants Earth to be consumed, since it's how her people in Urdak get their Argent energy, in turn keeping her world alive. But Doom Guy doesn't give a shit about any of that, because, well, he's Doom Guy. He does whatever the hell he wants. This entire story is just Doom Guy doing things that other people tell him he can't do through his actions alone, which is just awesome. If you are a Doom fan like myself, I think you will really enjoy what's on display here. The entire time they just show off how badass Doom Guy is, which is exactly what I'd want from any Doom story. This is really shown off through some of the in-game cutscenes, which are all just so good.
Hey! Who are you? You can't be here.
That fucking voice crack. I'll be taking that, thank you very much. And honestly, I really wish we could have gotten some more of them in the halfway point of the game. Admittedly though, if you don't know too much about Doom, or haven't played many of the other games, you might be kind of lost with this story, since lots of it is fan service as I mentioned earlier, so like callbacks to the older games and stuff like that. So if you don't enjoy the story that much, or you don't like your Doom games having stories at all, that's fine, since if you really don't care about this story stuff, you can easily skip it just like in Doom 2016. Since Doom has always been a gameplay-centric series, first and foremost, which is kind of why I covered the gameplay first. Probably the most exciting thing the story does, though, is that it connects the older games to the current ones, by confirming that Doom Guy is indeed the same Doom Marine seen in Dooms 1, 2, and 64.
We found him in the valley, just outside the castle walls. He was badly wounded and wearing this.
Guts. Huge guts. Kill them. Must kill them all.
Got it, boys.
He has fight in him yet.
In spite of his injuries.
Send him to the arena. Let him be judged like the others.
Making them all one interconnected story. This one story choice just makes everything so much more impactful, and makes Doom Guy so much more badass of a character. Oh, and speaking of badass, the boss fights in this game are all just that. And the build-up for the fight for some of these guys, especially the Icon of Sin, is done really, really well with the story. I felt the boss fights were way more enjoyable and challenging this time around, especially the last one. The Spider Mastermind in Doom 2016, for being a final boss, was kind of a chump. I mean, I get it, she was kind of supposed to be, but it just wasn't all that engaging. The Icon of Sin, though, does feel like a true test of your skills, and a perfect final fight to end the game. What's also cool is that 2 of the bosses you fight, the Doom Hunter and the Marauder, become super heavy demons you fight later, which is just awesome, and a great way of showing the player just how far they've come. So this entire time you've likely noticed I've mostly been covering the single player, since, well, Doom is mostly a single player game. But, like 2016's Doom, Eternal has a multiplayer mode, which does some very interesting things. The multiplayer mode this time around is really different. Rather than having a typical team deathmatch sort of thing, it's now a 2v1 mode, where 2 demons go up against 1 slayer. And it's surprisingly well thought out, and it's pretty fun. There is a lot of variety with the different demons and a lot of strategies. Honestly, when I first heard of this mode, I thought it was just going to be a throwaway sort of thing, but to my surprise, it's balanced pretty well. Essentially, how it works is that it's a best of 3. The Slayer has all of his stuff from the campaign, for the most part, and the demons gotta rely on spawning AI, their special abilities, and teamwork to win. The round is won when either the Slayer dies, or both demons die within a certain time frame, since if you only kill one, the other can respawn. After each round, you can choose a perk to help you with future rounds, which really ties into the strategy part of this whole thing. Though this mode is fun, I can't see it being the driving force to bring players back to the game, at least in its current state, being without a competitive mode and having a bit of odd input lag. I think the single player is going to be what's bringing people back, which should surprise no one. Though the multiplayer is a good way to unlock cosmetics through the Battle Pass-like system, which is honestly just kind of annoying, but it could be way worse. At least you can't pay to get through it. The cosmetics look pretty good, any of which you can just get by doing stuff in the single player, so earning it, like the classic suit, and you can level up by doing stuff in the single player campaign through challenges. So it could be way worse. Overall, a fun multiplayer mode, but it's going to be the single player that will keep me coming back. Kind of like 2016's multiplayer in Snap Map. Pretty fun, but the single player's where the real meat's at. And speaking of Snap Map, I am slightly disappointed it's not here this time around. I think it was a cool way to show off your creativity, and it was fun to mess around in once you beat the single player. Hell, some people made entire campaigns in that damn thing. Though it didn't get all too popular, and like I said, most people just played the single player, so I understand why it's not in the game. And honestly, if it would have pulled resources from the stellar single player, then I would much rather have it not be in the game in that case. Though, if we can't get Snap Map, I hope that at some point the game does get official mod support, since I think that would be ultimately even better than something like Snap Map, and could keep the game alive for near infinity. I'm definitely not saying this because I want H-Doom remastered or anything like that, just because I love mods. Luckily, we do have some story DLC coming out. 2 of them, so that's nice. Probably going to review those when they come out. Anyways, now time for something I don't see covered in many other reviews, that I want to make a regular when I review stuff. The community and dev team. In my opinion, the community or dev team of any given game can really be a deciding factor in the enjoyment of said game, and in some extreme cases can nearly ruin said enjoyment. Luckily, the community and devs for Doom are fucking great, and surprisingly wholesome. You wouldn't expect Doom fans to be as nice as they are because of how over-the-top violent their game is. But they're surprisingly pretty chill people for the most part. I mean, the whole Animal Crossing crossover thing was just great. Of course, though, there are a few rotten eggs, like some Doom elitist, but every community has at least a few dicks in it. The devs are also just awesome. I mean, ID Software, you really can't go wrong with those guys. When I hear them talk about their game, you can just see just how passionate they are about it, and I love it. Especially with Hugo Martin, the game's creative director. Just seeing this guy talk about how much he loves his game and how fun it is makes me want to play it. He's also pretty good at his own game, which is great, since for me, if I see devs who can't properly play their own game, that's usually a big warning sign for me. So, if you're new to the Doom community and want to watch some content creators, here's a couple I watch. Yes, I know there's a whole bunch of people that make content for this game, so I'm obviously not going to be able to cover every single person. Keep that in mind. So if you're a Doom veteran, feel free to leave your recommendations that I don't talk about here in the comments. Midnight makes some really good Doom videos, mostly related to Doom lore. He's also an absolute Chad at Doom Eternal, making him really fun to watch. And he's also a huge Halo fan, so he gets a seal of approval from me. Spud Hunter is also a really good Doom player who's beaten the game in Ultra Nightmare a few times. He's good at the game, and has given out a lot of good tips. Oh, and speaking of tips, Ketchup and Mustard is a really good channel that has loads of videos with tips and tricks for Doom Eternal that have definitely made me a better player. Under the Mayo is a channel I found recently, probably the smallest on this list, and his Doom videos are rather good, and have really well thought out scripts for them, so I'd highly recommend him as well. And there are just so many more that I didn't mention. These are just some of my favorites that I watch a lot. If you happen to have some content creators you'd recommend, not listed here, to new Doom fans, or veterans who need new people to watch, feel free to leave them in the comments, since Lord knows I cannot mention all of them. There's a lot of other people I watch that I would have mentioned here, but I honestly don't want this video to be over an hour long. So overall, an awesome community and dev team. Doom Eternal feels like a proper sequel to Doom 2016, building upon its systems with more abilities, more demons to kill, and just more of everything that makes Doom so great. It's more Doom, and you really can't go wrong with that. I absolutely love this game, and would easily recommend it to anyone in the market for a high-octane power fantasy shooter. Admittedly though, if you don't like games that are really fast-paced and demand a lot from the player all at once, you might not enjoy Doom Eternal that much. Though for me, it's definitely going in my top 5 of all time. This has become a new favorite. Yes, I might even like it more than Hunt Showdown. It's possible. It's possible. I hope for all those still on the fence that you found this review helpful, and if this game is for you or not. For those of you who decide to take the fight straight to hell, rip and tear until it is done. Thanks for waiting for this review to come out. I know that typically the honeymoon period for reviews for new games is like a week to 2 weeks after it comes out, but I really wanted to do this game justice and take my time with it, since I'm a huge Doom nerd. Sorry that it was 3 weeks, almost a month, but I just needed to make sure I did it right. Honestly, I have no clue what I'm going to review next. I really enjoy making these. These take a lot more effort than most of my videos, but they feel a lot more rewarding to make. I have a couple of ideas in the air what the next game I'll review is, but they're all pretty far off into the distance, like Cyberpunk and Halo Infinite, so I don't know, I might make a review in between. If you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.
Excellent. Smash the heretic!